And we're live. Welcome, everybody, to BIGGUNNER81 Live, presented by Applied Arsenal Finishes and Gunworks. And, of course, our friends over at EgglestonMunitions.com. Check out Eggleston Munitions if you're into reloading. We've got some really nice, economical polymer-coated projectiles out there. Also by our friends over at Spinta Precision and the Range of 355. Check them out, range355.com or range355.com, I think it is. As you might notice, I've kind of been losing my voice a little bit. Kind of been sick on and off and whatnot, and so we missed a few shows recently and whatnot, and all that. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce everybody we got in the house with us tonight as well. We got our buddy Joe Gizzy here with us. Welcome, Joe.
Yo, what's going on, Rick?
How are you? Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Besides, I was saying, besides being sick and like losing my voice here, it seems like.
I'm just glad to see you.
Good. Yeah, likewise. And we got Corey from Southern Style Beards. Welcome, Corey.
What's up, guys?
Not too much. And welcome, Brandon. We got Brandon with us, who, as always mentioned, has been helping with the website and also has dealt with the BIGGUNNER81 site recently, too, which we'll mention as well. So welcome, Brandon. Got a few things we'll discuss tonight. Obviously, we've been doing a lot of 3D printing stuff, and that's one of the things Brandon was helping with. We were setting up, or have set up already, in the process of adding more items to it, a online store at BIGGUNNER81.com where you can buy some of our stuff. Right now, there's just one item on it, but there's more coming. One of the really popular things that I just started working on recently that has gained a lot of interest is our AR-15 rifle stand. This is one of the very first things I designed. I think it was either the first or second, because I did a keychain and I did this. Those are the first two things I started playing around with in Fusion 360, just coming up with my own designs. Tweaked this along the way. Sorry, I might be coughing quite a bit tonight as well. I'll tell you some of the changes we made to it from the original drawing, I guess you'd say, or design. First off, I added these holes into the circular pattern here. That's one of the early on things we did to it. Then after I made the first print, I realized that this was a bit taller than it really needed to be, so I lowered it down about an inch. I wanted to kind of make this a little bit more reinforced, so I made the base a little bit thicker to give it a little more strength. My other idea, which this is why it's also not quite yet ready for sale. One of the ideas that I'm doing was how to make this print stronger, and it's plenty strong. It holds. In fact, one of my tests for it is I took my heavy barreled 20-inch barrel, M16 clone lookalike, rifle, put that on here because it's the heaviest, AR-15 that I have right now. To get all that weight out there on the barrel, to put as much, force as I could on this, not intentionally trying to break it or anything, but just trying to make sure that it can support, the rifle and everything. And it supported it really well. I was pretty impressed. But the second part was I wanted to come up with an idea to basically use a secondary material to reinforce it, to kind of have a core to it. So my idea was to make it hollow. So this right here on the bottom end, where it's got this grid pattern, is actually what they call support material. So when you're 3D printing, it's building layer upon layer upon layer. Well, if you're printing something that has an overhang to it, like, for example, it's printing this base, everything's flat, but then here, the print starts to climb upward, and there's nothing underneath it. It would be hollow basically. So there's nothing to support the layer from collapsing down towards the bed. So this material here makes like a support, like a stepping stool, so to speak, for the print. It prints it at the same time and allows it to not collapse on itself. So my thought was to leave this hollow. So I got an X pattern here. The center part of it right here is hollow up to the core, up to a certain point. It does two things by doing this. One, when you do the 3D print, it creates a shell, right? The outer layers of the object has a thickness to it, like a solid thickness. And the inside of it has a density, which you can change that density in the software. They call it the infill. The infill looks kind of like this grid pattern, only it's shrunken down. So effectively having a hollow core to it gives us actually two outer perimeter layers. So you have like a shell within a shell. So I've got this outer, layer of that has a thickness to it, and then an inner layer that has a thickness to it as well, plus a hollow core. The idea with this hollow core is that I'd like to try, and it's probably not as necessary as I think it could be, meaning it's plenty strong now, but I just wanted to have another material to put in here just in case, the PLA decides to get brittle over time or something. I want to use maybe like a resin or epoxy and basically fill the core of it as much as possible and fill it up to as much as possible of this grid pattern here as well. That'll also give us like think of it like rebar, so to speak, and like concrete. You'll have strands that'll be locked into the resin to give it extra strength, but also have an alternate material that may hold up, more for the long haul. I don't know. It's just my thought. But right now, like I said, it's plenty strong. It holds my 20-inch barrel rifle really well, and I'm excited about this. They take a long time to make, though, with the printing process. I don't think the epoxy thing, if that's the route we're going to go with this, which is possible again. That's why it's not quite ready for sale. But that part of the process probably won't take very long. I don't imagine it will. The printing takes the longest. This is about, I want to say 18 to 20 hours, maybe a little more, depending on the settings and stuff. So this takes a long time to make. Now, the cool thing about 3D printing is, unlike an injection mold where you get one mold, you get one pattern, one shape, one logo in that mold, unless you have a removable plate that you can change the logos out with. 3D printing, you can rapidly make those changes. So, for example, if you have a particular logo on it that you want on it, or you want your name written on the stand or something, I can do that within reason. Of course, there's some limitations. The finer the detail, the harder it is to get a good quality print out of it. Which I'll kind of show this too. And Corey, I know this is something that we were kind of making up for you, which is not the completed product yet because I'm not happy with how this one turned out. Corey's Southern Style Beards logo, it's kind of hard. Maybe I don't know how well it looks coming over the internet, but one of the challenges with this is all these little fine lines for his beard. You got his nose over here, his eyes and ears, trying to get it so that it when you're trying to, I don't know if the correct terminology is emboss, like.
It's not too bad. For a first draft, it's pretty good. I'm kind of surprised, actually. Kind of surprised how the details coming across. I didn't realize you could even get that detailed with it.
Somewhat, yeah. The thing that's really bad about this print is more like this back side. You can see it's all wavy. Something happened on the print when it was finishing up. Other than that, the post. One of the challenges with printing these posts, sometimes you get little blobs come over the edges. This one came out really nice. In fact, you can see the BIGGUNNER81 logo on here. I put it on the spine, I guess you'd say, of the post. That came out pretty sharp. I'm looking at it all upside down and backwards and stuff, but on my end, I'm holding it upside down. There we go. So anyhow, yeah, the challenge with this is like I have to set different depths to each detail. In fact, I had to actually take and overlay 2 images in the program to make it work because the first off, like with his original logo, which has like his slogan across it, it was cutting it off where I couldn't actually inlay it properly. So we took another image that he had of his this bearded guy here and a different version of the text with the same font that he had, and did those 2. But his face was the hard one. I had to inlay his eyes. I was trying to think how a person would be if you're 3-dimensional. Your eyes would be set in a little bit from your face. Your the nose actually is like in there, but that doesn't really pop outward because the way it was drawn in the graphic. So the bridge of his nose kind of had to be brought up a little bit, which is at the same level as his beard. His ears are laid in at the same depth as his eyes. All these little squiggles, or whatever you want to call them, for like his beard, are the same surface, same level as the surface. So I had to kind of do that kind of a thing to make this 3-dimensionally work, and so forth. Which is what I also ran into when we were doing the I was going to say the Gadsden flag style, which Brandon's got one of for the Freedom Cradle. Getting the depths and all that stuff to kind of make it look right, getting the coils of the snake inlaid further in on the surface and that sort of thing. Just to show something else, because obviously this one is basically our Glock stand, single stand for like 9mm / 40 caliber Glocks, because the post is sized, to fit that. Might be a little bit too. It might fit other pistols too, but I haven't tried it other than just like some of my other double stacks, which is a little bit too wide for. Because I kind of took the rough dimensions of a mag for a Glock to make this. This one I was making up for our friends over at Men 2 Mags. This one, I was running low on this particular filament. This filament, the red that the base is made out of, is great stuff. It worked out really nice, but I was running out of it to the point where I had to switch the roll. So I switched it. You can see the transition. It's very slight, but it's there. Most of it you don't see when the pistol's on it, but it's there. But I like the quality of the print and how neat it came out. I mean, the letters are sharp on it. When you have things that have logos that have like more blockier or thicker details like this, they tend to come out better than if you have like finer details. That's a challenge. So anyway, that's kind of some of the stuff I've been working on. And if you're looking to get one, let me know if you have a particular logo or something you want on it. As long as it's not something that's copyrighted that I can't actually create, or if it's something that I can just use a basic font with, or you have a graphic that you have already that you like to supply, we can look at it and see what we can do. Other than that, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world outside of 3D printing, which we can talk a little bit about. Obviously, I don't want to go too much into it today, but there's a whole thing that happened at YouTube today with a shooting. It sounds like 4 people dead, and I'm gonna get on the soapbox briefly about one part of this. I was listening to some of the different pieces from the news briefly, and I'm listening to this thing where they're talking about when this first happened. They're like, the number of casualties is unknown, and we expect that number to rise. I'm not laughing at the tragicness of the event. I'm laughing at how this is reported. It's like, where's that baseline to that? How do you, and what, if you don't know the number of people that were hurt or killed or whatever, how do you say you expect that number to rise? There's no number to base it off of. So just unknown.
Rick, just to clarify, I don't think you mentioned 4 people dead. I don't think that's correct.
I thought that's what I could be wrong, and I apologize if I am, because I don't know all the details. Like I said, I just heard a couple of things briefly. I thought the reports were saying that it was the shooter killed themselves. It was a female, and it's supposed to be a boyfriend-girlfriend thing or something from what I heard. I could be wrong. Again, like I said, I only listened to stuff briefly. And there was, 3 other people I thought that were either killed or injured, possibly. So if you guys out there watching know all the details, you can comment on the comments, because, again, I got home, briefly watched this, didn't have enough time to really research it and so forth. So
from what I know, it's a female shooter. She killed herself and injured 4 people. I don't think, at least from what I've read yet, none of those were life-threatening. But she did shoot 4 people, and she ended up turning the gun on herself, so she is dead.
Right. One of the things I was going to mention too is, speaking of people out on YouTube, to answer a couple questions, we had a question come in that says, "What 3D printers do you use?" I only have one 3D printer right now. It's a TiVo Black Widow. I'll tell you briefly how I decided to get that one. Basically, one of my other fellow YouTube friends bought a C-Reality CR10S, I think it is, or something like that. Pretty nice size print bed. And I noticed one of my other Facebook friends had bought the TiVo Black Widow, so I was starting to talk to him about that. And looking at the cost of them and, excuse me, the TiVo Black Widow, it's got its pros and cons to it. But one of the things I would say is the extrusions, the actual frame of it is thicker than a lot of the other ones, and it has a really nice size print bed. The downside is, and this reminds me of like, if you ever saw on The Simpsons, the Canyon Arrow, the Canyon Arrow was like a kind of a spinoff of like the Dodge Ram Charger, and I had one of those. It was ironic because I had one same color as one in the Simpsons. But they said, one of the lines in the whole commercial for this, vehicle on fictitious vehicle on The Simpsons was unexplained fires are a matter for the courts. Well, the TiVo Black Widow has some potential fire hazard issues with it, as we found out. I haven't found out firsthand, but just after buying it and doing some research on it, one of the things I did run into, which could have been an issue for us, which is one of the issues, is the connections on the bed heater. The wiring with it moves back and forth with the print bed as the I think it's the y-axis goes in and out. And so it flexes, and the connector on this bed wiggles, and as it wiggles, not the pins, but the actual the female part of that connector gets basically just gets weakened and weakened. It gets a poor connection. It starts to get high resistance, heats up, starts to melt the connector, and so forth. Luckily, mine was in the middle of a print when it failed, and it just set basically a heating error code. And what that means is basically that it has a thermistor that measures the temperature of the bed. It's just like the extruder does as well. So if the computer is not seeing the bed temperature where it's commanding it to be, it basically will throw an error message and stop the print. I'm not sure if there's a way to recover from it. I think there might be a reset button on the board. Never tried it. But ultimately ended up taking that connector apart. I ordered new pins for it. Was going to repair it, but I decided to just hardwire and solder the connections to get rid of that issue. And then I added a 3D printed, I designed basically a support for the wiring harness, and 3D printed it, mounted it to the tray below the bed, and basically tied the wiring harness onto it to keep it from flexing or anything like that. So anyhow, got the TiVo Black Widow. They had a nice deal at gearbest.com is where I got it from. I'm hearing rumors that costs of 3D printers are probably going to go up with some type of taxation or something. I'm not really sure. So I would like to get a second one because, for example, printing 20-hour print kind of ties up the machine, and there's other things I want to print at the same time. So anyway, it's a nice machine though. Fixed a few little things with it like that wearing the harness on the bed. Some people complain about the power supply, but I haven't had an issue with that. I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
What is the like MSRP or something like?
That's a great question. So they vary. Like, I'll tell you what I paid for mine. I think I want to say it was around $385, $390, something like that. But you look around, you'll find them now because that was a sale price. They're somewhere between like $400 and like almost $600, depending on two things. One, I got the basic model, it's kind of so to speak, but there's one that has what they call a BL Touch, is auto leveling. It has a sensor on it. Mine does not have this. That can sense the height of the bed and make adjustments in the software to accommodate if the bed is uneven or something.
It's still not bad though. I would think.
No,
I thought it would be more than that.
No, I mean, there's really, really expensive 3D printers out there, but for the quality you get out of this one, I really can't complain for the price at all. Of course, you have to build it. It comes as a kit, so you have to be somewhat competent with confident, whatever, confident. But I can't even talk. But so it's with wiring and mechanics, because you got to assemble it and adjust everything, and it's a lot of tedious BS of setting stuff up and tweaking things, but I'm mechanical minded. I like wiring. I like electronics and stuff. I don't know everything about electronics, but I know enough that I can assemble this thing and make it work. So, and you have to have some knowledge because, well, there's a lot of videos out there that help too, so it may not be true. But if you don't have access to videos and you're just trying to build this thing and you're going by the instructions, you have to have some knowledge already about how this stuff's supposed to work or have a basic idea, because the instructions, although I'm sure they've gotten better and they've actually made a nice, like I put it this way, their packaging, their instructions seem like these Chinese manufacturers are trying to get a better hold on quality of, creating the books and the documentation and whatnot. I give them that. In fact, they even had a Christmas card in this thing. I bought it like right after Christmas, and within a month or two or something like that. I can't even remember. Had a Christmas card for last year, and I thought, hey, it's kind of cool. They're getting their stuff together with their customer service, and their books looking better than a lot of other things used to look. But it still wasn't perfect. There's a lot of things where you look at the picture and you're like, yeah, that's not right. This is backwards, and this text doesn't make sense of how they're wording it, because you got to think they're trying to translate it all. So also they asked around on here on YouTube if we were streaming on gun channels, if I embedded on there. Nope, I did not get a chance to do that, unfortunately. And one of the comments was, I've been using Shapeways for my 3D printing for teaching and so forth. I'm not sure what Shapeways is. I'm not familiar with it. I have to look and see what that word is. But anyway, so outside of the 3D printing stuff, which again, we got Brandon's been helping with the website. I appreciate that. Thank you, Brandon. We're gonna have a platform set up where we can, when we get these things made and like people can buy them, there's a place to do that using PayPal and so forth, which is awesome. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and Brandon's been helping out getting that stuff paved the way for that and whatnot. Any of the proceeds that come from any of these things I'm selling to go basically back into the channel and the 50 States of AR-15 project, which has been something that's been kind of a challenge lately between time, money, and all the crap that's been going on in the world. It's kind of slowed up a bit with getting these things done. Speaking of which, I have something here for Idaho, I believe. Unique AR, which we have one of the handguards for the rifle build for Idaho, which we have. We're literally, that's what we have for it. That and this grip. This is one of the new. It's still in the plastic bag, so it's a little shiny and maybe hard to tell. And I'll unwrap this later on and do a video on it. This grip is really unique, for lack of a better term. You can check it out, unique-grips.com. It's customizable. You put your hand on it. I don't know if you can see this. You can squeeze it, okay? And it's like springy, like spring-loaded. So you squeeze it, and on the bottom, there's a little, you can't see it through the bag, but here's an image on the back. You might be able to see that better. On the bottom there's a little twist knob that you tighten it up. So you squeeze it how you want it, you tighten it up, it stays in place. So you can literally adjust this to your hand size of anybody who wants to pick up this AR. I think that's pretty awesome. So that's one of our newer things we're going to be doing a video on as well. So speaking of new stuff, I know, Brandon, you just got a new pistol.
Yeah, I really.
You got to do the Bob Barker voice, by the way. The brand new car.
Yeah.
My voice is so stripped I can't do it, but
where's the long mic?
Brandon, what did you get today? I got a new car. CM9, baby. 9mm single stack. I really like the Kel-Tec PF9, but I am a self-proclaimed trigger snob, and the trigger on that thing is nothing compared to this. This is a little bit heavier, a little bit bigger, but I mean, it's very similar as far as like size and everything else, except the trigger on this is much better. Also, I mean, it was like, I found this one used with an extra mag, and I saw that it has a metal sight. Looks like it's been replaced too. So got it for a pretty good price. Sold my Kel-Tec, put a little bit of extra money, and got that. So real excited to take that out to the range this weekend and try it out.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Brandon, I have the same firearm, and the trigger. I mean, you're absolutely right. The trigger is amazing, amazing for that type of size and that type of firearm. And it just, if you're, whatever you're going to do with it, it makes you feel more confident in it. I think in that design, and I just like how just the quality is really nice. It doesn't feel cheap or plasticky. It's just and there's the weight to it as well. It's not light, but it's a nice one.
But and this is nice machining and everything, and this is the lower end CM model. So the PM model is even better than this, supposedly. So
well, yeah, I mean, I guess the PM is mostly just cosmetic stuff that is better, I think.
I did a little bit of research on the differences. It has a few other slide cuts. It has an octagonal barrel, which is supposed to be more accurate, but I'm a reloader, so I like the rifle barrels. So, and the PM9 also comes with an extra mag as well, from what I hear.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like $200 and $300 more. So I just couldn't really justify that cost. When I saw this one used for that price, it's like, I jumped on it.
Right. Same thing. Yeah, they saved money on that, making it, obviously, with getting rid of some of those slide cuts and things like that. So, have you ever, Rick? Have you ever held a? Well, have you ever fired a car before? Any?
No, I have not. And I want to, sure, I like to try all kinds of stuff, but no, I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. At least that I can recall. I mean, there was a time I had a friend. I still have the friend, but there was a time that my friend had, I want to say, 13 different 9mm, all of the most popular models. If I could try to name them all, man, let's see. I can come up with a few of them.
19, 17.
Well, no, he had a he had a Glock 17. He had a H&K VP9, which I tested out after he only shot like the first 2 mags through it, and basically brand new pistol. The Smith & Wesson M&P Pro, which I don't think he even shot that one. He gave it to me to review. There's a video on my channel of it. I think I did a comparison with the two of them. What else? CZ75. An H&K, no, H&K, I said H&K VP9, but I think there was another H&K, I thought. I can't remember what model it was. He had a lot of weird stuff. And then he had a Rock On Armory, single stack, 9mm, 1911. Oh, the SIG 226, which I own. I bought that one when he was liquidating all his 9mm. What else?
Probably got that for a decent price.
Yeah, I got a nice
LCP or anything, or
I can't remember now. See, man, so I'm at least like 6 off on this whole count. I would have to ask him, but he had 13 of them. In fact, he even bought like a Pelican case that he was setting up for taking all of them to the range at one time. So I got to test, like, I think most all of them out. One night went to the range, and he has a big range bag just full and heavy, and so here, try this one. But you really don't get a good feel for it when you're just like taking a few maybe 1 or 2 mags out of each one. Really to really get a good feel for something, I think you got to use it for a little while.
I'm gonna go get my gun and stuff real quick so I can show you mine.
Well, you're doing that. I'm gonna talk about my my Glock as well, because you're just gonna have some similar stuff.
Real quick, Brandon. So I ended up putting Talon grips on my CM9, just preference. Some of the grip it's not necessarily aggressive, but it's quite snappy. So the Talon grips, they help me. I like them. So
that's the only thing I've done. Like the grip tape that's pre-cut that you put on there.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard good things about those too. I actually was able to take. I don't know if you could see, but this is like a grip sleeve, a Hogue grip sleeve that I had on the Kel-Tec.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's actually made for a 380, but I just kind of crammed it on there, and I had to trim around the mag release just a little bit here. But I'm not a huge fan of the finger groove, but it's got a little bit of palm swell, and that helps a little bit. I will say that the stippling on the front side of this grip here is very grippy. So, I mean, the back and the sides aren't quite so much, but I mean, yeah, I've heard good things about the Talon grip add-ons as well.
Well, that's nice that you already have that on there. So yeah, that should be fine too, as long as it stays on and you feel comfortable with it.
So I finally got a chance to go test out my my one Glock 19. One of the issues I've been having with it, and I think I problem solved what it is. And this was happening with I have a spin to precision slide here that's just a blank slide. I've showed this before that I want to get done. Well, I pulled all the guts out of it and got a different set of sights to throw on here on this LTD combat slide. And I had this similar problem with the first LTD combat slide, which was their initial launch. I think I don't know if they call it their Gen 2 or something like that slide that had I guess a small defect. So they exchanged it out for me, but it was a different design than this one. In fact, that one did not have the RMR plate or cut out for it. So anyway, the issue I'm having is, and it's not as bad with this slide as it was with the other slide, and I think it's because of the weight of the other slide. The other slide's heavy. If you notice, like I just let it go real soft, and you see it's not in battery. If I just touch it lightly, it closes.
Can you do that again? I missed it.
Yeah, let's see if I can stage it. So if I just lightly set it up, see the barrel is sitting down.
Yeah.
And you see it's back a little bit on the slides a little bit back, and I just barely touch the back of it. It just pops forward.
Is it on your 19?
Yeah, it's on my 19. So I wasn't having this issue with the stock Glock with this recoil spring. I ran it, just fine. I was doing a review on it. It's a Crux Ord recoil guide rod assembly, which has it's kind of dirty right now. It's a stainless steel, but it's fluted. You can see the little spiral fluting in it. With the flat style spring. The Gen 4 Glocks have almost like a double spring setup from the factory on it. So my first thought was, well, maybe, I do have a stock replacement striker spring in here, and I was thinking maybe it's stronger than what this recoil spring can handle, because they work against each other when it's closing the slide, because it's setting the striker and pulling the striker spring back to compress it. But then I noticed if I, for example, pull the trigger, I'm holding the trigger, so it's not resetting. So the little I forget what the heck it's called. Basically, the little catch for the striker that holds it. I'm gonna sound all technically like an idiot, but I'm not sure what the actual name is. It's being held down out of the way, so right now it's not even fighting the striker, and same kind of issue. It's a little less of an effort, but it still hangs up.
Is it part of is it actual part of the slide, or is it part of the frame that's the one catching it?
Well, it's just the resistance on it. What it is the last little bit of this spring. It just doesn't have quite enough tension to bring it forward. So I put the factory Glock recoil guide rod recoil spring assembly. It's not like, I don't know if you call it a guide rod assembly or not, because it's not really a guide rod, but the Gen 4 is a little different. So like it says it's got double springs on it. And it doesn't hang up like that at all. It's a little stiffer spring. So I contacted Crux Ord, and it sounds like they'll probably send a replacement spring for it. Although I don't think it should be weak. What's kind of different is, I'm going to pull this apart to kind of show you from the inside. So I don't have my Gen 4 here in front of my other Gen 4 in front of me, the stock one, but you can see this is a flat wire spring. It's more like a Gen 3 style Glock spring. And I think it pretty much probably is. They just basically put this little stainless steel adapter that's, captured on the end of the guide rod to make up the different diameter of the opening there, the hole for it. So anyway, I may even just end up getting a factory Glock, spring setup for it, just to make it a little more reliable in that sense. I don't know. My first thought was, well, maybe it's a little bit lighter spring tension on that. Maybe it's the striker. Maybe I need to try, because I'd like to reduce the trigger pull a little bit and improve the trigger on it, maybe I'll reduce the striker spring slightly, since this is not like my carry pistol. And after realizing that, even with the trigger out of the way, I don't know if it's sear, maybe is what I'm trying to say. I think maybe I don't know what the technical term is, if it's called a sear or not on the striker setup. Because like I said, not an expert with everything, but someone will comment it in this video later on, and I'll be like, oh, damn it, I sound like a total idiot. And that's what it's called. So anyway, with it still hanging up, I'm like, taking that out of the equation, it's not quite there. Then obviously there's an issue with having enough spring tension to bring it home. And since it's happening with this slide or the other slide, and if I switch out the guide rod assembly with the factory one, it doesn't happen. Obviously, there's something with that spring. At least that's where the tends lead me to. That's what we got to replace and change to make this function properly. So anyway, but I love that pistol. It's nice. Other than that issue, and it being a fresh build, obviously there's going to be some bugs or the possibility of having some bugs to work out once we get that new replacement spring or new guide rod assembly, we're going to call it. I think it's going to be good to go, at that point. So anyway, you've got Corey, you've got yours over there too. You're 23.
Yeah, I'm playing with my new toy. That I'm telling you, man, them damn tax refunds. I swear they're bad for people.
Man. Mine's the opposite. I got to pay money this year. I don't know why, but it sucks.
But anyway, so I've been wanting to do it for quite some time now. Because basically the 23, the Glock 23 is a 40 caliber. It's on a 19 frame. The only difference is the 40 caliber ejector and the barrel and stuff. All the components are still the same on the slide except the barrel and the extractor. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get I wanted to go ahead and get a 19 frame, and that way I could still run my my 9mm like I have for my 17. So I asked some people that I'm friends with and follow on Instagram, and I had a good buddy point me out in the right direction. And you can find just about anything on like eBay and things like that. And there's a company called Steel City Arsenal, and I believe they're down in Alabama. And they are
friends like your home state.
Yeah, they are pretty sweet. I mean, the barrel on this thing, the milling, it was already milled and cut out for an RMR site. So the milling of it is really, really sweet. One of the things I think this one's called the Freedom Fighter. And the one thing I really love about this is that they have the American flag engraved into it. So,
and they did it the right direction too.
Yeah. Oh, so, and then I went and got a back plate off Amazon, 3%er,
is that a Gen 3?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I gotta make sure of myself. I'm like, hell, I buy. And then so I got the back plate off Amazon, and then I also purchased a Gen 3 19 barrel, which I don't think it really matters what gen it is, but right. I bought a threaded Gen 19 threaded barrel, so I can add a compensator or something sometime. But I got some Trigicon suppressor night sights coming, and then later on down the road I'll probably get the RMR. But so far it's really stiff. Since it's obviously new, and I'm fitting it on the right frame, but it's just stiff. It hasn't been shot or anything yet, so I'm looking forward to taking this to the range. So that's
cool.
Yeah, and then
so is that a finish on that?
I had to talk.
Stainless steel, or?
I had to talk with the guy this afternoon. I think they put some kind of coating on it. it's not like a Cerakote, because when I was putting it together, it's not like actually painted or anything. It's some kind of like milled steel, but they've got some kind of coating on it. Because when I was messing with it today and putting the slide components together, I was having to use my punches and everything to get those springs down so I could get the back plate on.
Could it be bead blasted, maybe?
It might be. One of the questions I have, the internals I got from Brownells, and it was it was pretty cheap. I think the whole entire complete slide kit was like I think $80, and it came with a new spring and everything. And I think it's some kind of sleeve that goes down like into your slide and it stays there. It's kind of like a bitch to get in.
Oh,
and a bitch to come out.
You mean the striker sleeve?
That's it. The striker sleeve.
I don't know if I'm saying that correctly or not either.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Right
inside, because I've got this slide right here apart.
Yeah. So the one
striker sleeve inside the striker channel liner or something like that.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. The one thing about this company is that they go ahead and they secure it in there for you. So
a few of them that do that.
Yeah, and I was
this
like,
one didn't come with it, but that other one did.
Yeah, I was completely glad that they did that because it's like secured in there. It ain't coming out. I don't want it to come out.
I feel like one of those people that's like, oh, I found a detent spring for my AR. Now it's time to do another build because I'm like, I got this sitting there. I'm like, man, I need to buy another frame for this now.
I mean, eventually, I want to keep my. Obviously, I can do like a polymer 80, and put my 23 slide back on a frame. I mean, the only problem with switching out the slides and stuff is taking the actual injector pin out of the actual housing, the trigger housing, which isn't hard. I mean, you take a pair of needle nose pliers or whatever and just pull the pin out and put the other pin back in.
Which pin is that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The trigger housing pin, the ejector pin. Well, maybe.
What's that light you have on there real quick?
Oh.
And then force.
Yep. We can't hear you.
We lost your audio.
I think you knocked your mic, or we can't hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay.
Can you hear you now? Yep.
Okay. That little thing got switched off.
I missed all that about the light.
It's a M-Force APL.
Okay.
Badass tech light. It's really, I love it. Best light hands down for a gun. I know everybody has the what are they, the Surefires and the TRL.
Yeah, I have a TRL. I like that. I've never used Enforce.
Something about
good. People like both of them, I know.
Yeah. I think one thing about I think it's the TRLs that I heard was something like the actual button that you flip on it. It like gets stuck from time to time. I don't know if it's something new that's happening or I don't know. I've seen some errors come up on it. Yeah, so the trigger housing ejector pin is right here. So all you have to do if you're on anything, and see that all you have to do is take the little pin out back here, and then it pulls up, and then all you have to do is take a pair of needle nose pliers, pull it out, and put the ejector pin in that you want. So that's the only thing I'll have to do with switching out from a 40 to a 9mm, switching out the pins. Gotcha. So, and I mean, eventually, I'd like to have another frame, and even the the polymer 80s are what, $150. You have to saw a little bit out, or not. You don't have to like saw, but you have to like sand down like some of the internals in the frame, and then you have to drill out the holes for the punches. But other than that, I mean, eventually I'd like to finish it up and then have the 23 all together again and in a 40 cal. So, and the good thing about these is that my tier 1 conceal holster, it's, you know, the 23 is the exact same thing as a 19, and it's already housed and whited open for a threaded barrel. And
nice.
I will be able to fit the RMR in there without having any problems on there. So, and that's not even the way I customize that holster to be. So it kind of comes somewhat ready to go. But anyway, yeah. Cool. So that was my little fun project that I got to do today. So yeah.
Good deal. Oh, something else I'll be checking out pretty soon. I know we were talking about lights a minute ago. Olight. This is kind of an interesting one. It's the H2R Nova. I think it's a fairly new one.
I love Olight.
Yeah, they sent this to us to check out, and it just, what's different about, you know, right off the bat is just the positioning of the actual light. It's, you know, mounted on there perpendicular to the actual housing of the light, so you can like clip it in your you know, in a shirt pocket, clip it on something that, and have it, you know, gives it a different option versus just a straight flashlight. They even have like a mount, like you can have like a sort of a headband type setup too for it. I believe it comes with a rechargeable battery. I thought I saw on there, but I don't know if it has a charger for it with it or how it works yet. 2,300 lumens. It's got all the lumens, baby.
All of them. How much do those run about?
all lumens. How much they run about? They have a sale going on. I'm not sure what the sale price is off the top of my head. I put a link on the website, BIGGUNNER81.com. It's one of the most recent posts to their website. But I want to say off sale, like the regular price was like around $80 some dollars, like $80-$90. They also have them available in like two different tones, I guess you'd say. Like I think one was a cool white and one's a I think this one is the other one. There's a cool white and there's a neutral white. This is the neutral white. You can see on the side of the box there. They got a, or maybe you can, or you can't. It focuses. There we go. Has a 5-year warranty, and yeah, it is made overseas and whatnot. Just kind of use some of the features. I mentioned the maximum output of 2,300 lumens, making the brightest single 18650 battery light. Multiple use options, easily detachable head strap mount, turning it into a handheld light. Rechargeable through Olight signature magnetic charging device system. I don't know if that comes with it or not, though. So apparently it's rechargeable, so a magnetic system. Low battery indicator light will blink once per minute when the battery is running low and continuously blink twice when it is running out. Slightly angled surface for the switch to locate it easily in the dark and promote more natural operation. Gradual brightness changes, so you can change the brightness. That's cool. And turn on and off medium, high, and turbo modes. I'm not sure what turbo modes are, but that's what the turbo mode is, but that's cool. It'll light up or fade gradually to protect eyes from the stimulation caused by sudden brightness changes. Okay, so maybe that's part of the turbo mode. SOS mode available for emergency use. To kind of read the top part of this, that was the features. It gives you specs on it too and whatnot. Oh, okay. So this is the neutral white, and it's kind of cool because it wraps around the side here. It has little arrows, and you go on the back, it gives you the specs on it and stuff. It says 2,000 lumens to 700 lumens on turbo mode, 550 lumens in high, 140 in medium, and 27 on low. And moon setting is 1 lumens. Also gives you the rating. If you have it set on 1 lumens, it'll last for 45 days. On low for 50 hours, medium 10 hours, high 2.5. Turbo mode, it'll do 1 let's say 1 hour plus 110 minutes, I guess. And then the cool white light actually has a brighter amount of lumens, just slightly. Says the H2R Nova is an LED illumination tool powered by a single 18650 battery with a maximum output of 2300 lumens using a highly efficient Cree XHP50 LED and I don't know if it says TIR bead lens. And the H2R delivers a balanced beam perfect for close range illumination. The light is a multi-use illumination tool that can be used as a headlamp with the included head strap that features a magnetic mount that wraps around the light for secure and firm hold. When detached from the mount, it can also turn into a handheld light using the provided pocket clip. The H2R battery can be charged directly through the tail cap of the light using Olight's signature magnetic charging cable. The high output and versatility of the H2R Nova can make it a powerful and vital tool for activities in the dark. Man, I still want to do an unboxing on this, but I also kind of want to just open it up.
I was gonna say just do the unboxing now.
Yes, get it out of the way. Damn it, we want to see this thing. Let's see. Does it come out through the bottom like so? Because it's got a piece of tape on the back of it here. Maybe this little arrow on the back tells me what I should be doing. Oh, so I pull the arrow and check that out. That is slick. They got their packaging down. It's got a box within a box. Oh, wow. So this is pretty cool. And then, of course, I probably should just look at the arrows. It says on, okay, let's see. Before first use, unscrew tail cap and take off insulating film. And it shows a picture of insulating film. You know, obviously. It looks like it might have the charger because it shows a little picture of it. Like that's supposed to be like the charger, that little head strap, and then I don't know what that is. But it's got a little pull tab on it, so
that is a pretty good box for a
oh, okay. So it's a pull tab to lift up. Check that out. So inside here, excuse me. Yeah, it's a nice, substantial box. I mean, you got your, paperwork, your user manual, that sort of thing. Oops. Nice, foam core. I mean, it's pretty substantial the way they packaged it.
So how does the magnetic charger work? Is it just
that's what we're getting to. Look, man, wait, there's more.
Sorry. I'm excited,
no, I'm just kidding. I don't know yet. I have never opened it, but here's the head strap. Let's see if the charger's in. Yeah, there's a charger in here. Sure as hell. So it's got this whole little head device thing that you could wear, which kind of seems a little goofy to me, but I don't know that I'll use that part of it.
You know what it might be good for? So I use my
I have it right dark.
Here. So I have one, and I wear it when I clean my guns. So you have that light right on your head, and it's awesome. So you can kind of get down in there and see everything. So anyway, that's what I use it for.
Yeah, that's a valid idea. I mean, it's got some 3M double-sided adhesive tape or something too. There's this little pouch. I'm not sure. But it's nice to see 3M. That's cool. So it looks like it is a USB style charger right here. This little cap came off the end of it. And now, of course, one of the first things it says is take. Oh, wow. This is cool. I'll show you in a minute. It's got O-rings on it too, so pull off a little film piece. I don't know if this is charged up at all. It might be. If not, I'll probably plug it into my laptop here and charge it up. So it's got the on-off switch on the top. Look at that. Fading into the light. So it's pretty bright. Okay, so let's see.
How many lumens was it, you said?
2300 max.
Jeez, that is.
So there's the really low. I think that's the 1 lumen setup. So if you just need something to kind of glow a little bit in the really absolute dark, or blind somebody, so it goes off. You hold it. Okay. You see that? You can change the brightness settings. That's pretty cool. I'm trying to see if I don't know. I have to read through it and see how to do the SOS mode. I don't know if it's like, I'm not sure. I'll have to figure that part out. Now, the charger thing's kind of cool because it says magnetic. Check this out. That's awesome. It just snaps right on there. So it's got an outer ring and an inner ring. I wonder, though, if, what kind of protection you have on that, if it's a diode or anything in there. So, like, let's say, for example, you had a piece of aluminum foil and you put it up against there. Are you shorting out the battery that's inside of it? I don't know. I wonder. But I'm just going to plug it in my laptop, and we're going to see if we can short out the laptop. Oh, that's cool. It does have a little red LED indicator on the bottom there. Pretty slick. Not a bad little light. I like that it's got the O-rings for the water protection and stuff too. And I like the magnetic charger idea because, if you accidentally pull away from it somehow or drop it, you're not breaking the cord on it. You're not breaking any terminals inside here or anything. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Awesome. We're going to play around with that later on. Some more. But that's about all I've got. If you guys got anything else you want to mention before we wrap things up tonight. Joe wants to say
not
something.
Not really.
So, and
has anybody seen the video going around on Facebook or YouTube or whatever it is about the girl that picked up the Glock inside the car?
Yep, we saw it last night. I was showing it to Laura, and they showed the blood gushing out of the head.
I know,
and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Wait, what happened? Wait, what's this video now?
There's a video. Go ahead, Corey. I'll let you explain this.
When I saw the description of the video, it looked like the girl purposefully they were messing around with a Glock, and in the car they were having fun, kind of, yeah. And so it looks like the girl purposely cocked the gun and pointed it right at her boyfriend's head in the passenger seat of the car and pulled the trigger. And you could see the shot to the temple, enter and exit the car. Blood's gushing from his head. He's making a sound. He's dead. And
how is this allowed on Facebook or whatever?
It was a live stream, but I'm surprised it didn't get edited.
Yeah,
you see like on I wouldn't say a news report, but you see a report about it. You'd think they would show the video up until that point of it, boom, and the blood.
Yeah, that's some pretty messed up shit, man.
Yeah, apparently he didn't die right away though. I don't know if he's. I doubt he's still alive. If he is, he's brain dead.
The projectile went right through his left temple. Clear. Yeah. Blood was. You could see blood running down his shoulder. He was. Yeah. It was awful. And that's why you don't play with things like these, and you always treat a firearm as they're loaded. They're not play toys. They're tools. Mm-hmm. They are weapons. They can be used to hurt people.
Granted, you see me holding guns all the time in my videos, and even now I was playing my 1911. I say playing, and you play with toys, but the same token,
yeah.
What I'm pointing at, there's nobody standing over there within that distance where I would kill somebody.
Well, that's what's so frustrating about a lot of this anti-gun and the censorship stuff. It inhibits people from learning about firearms and how to use them safely. That's why I hate that kind of stuff. If you try and ban something, people are only going to seek it out more, and it's just stupid.
Hey, speaking of which, banning, I saw in Deerfield, Illinois. I don't know if you saw this report yet about the local, I don't know if you call it local ordinance or a local law or whatever.
I did see that. Briefly.
Starting June 13th or 15th or something like that, they're banning, assault rifles and whatever's on their list of, evil weapons. And they're saying it's like, if you get found with having one in the village or whatever town, it's $1,000 a day fine. I'm like, how the hell is that? It's insane, you know?
I mean,
if that's not infringement, I don't know what is.
Who are these trustees think they are? I mean, these people, seriously. I mean,
don't trustee the trustee. That's pretty much it.
They're just busybodies, man. They just want to get in everybody's business.
If they think they're doing a good thing, you know, and
chances are it's the wrong thing.
You can't fault somebody who wants to do what they think is a good thing for everybody. That's a good, wholesome value type thing. But at the same token,
if it's a bad idea, then
it's a bad idea.
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. That's all you can say. It's like, you know, you don't want to be mean to someone who's got their heart in the right place, but at the end of the day, if they're wrong with what they're doing, you know. But I guess it also depends on what side of the whole spectrum you stand on, because, you know, some people have their beliefs that are different than our beliefs, you know. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And all we can do is, you know, fight for those beliefs and our rights and everything. And as Squibload says on here on YouTube, says, if they make stupid laws, leave as soon as you can. Well, here's the thing about that, Squib. Where do you run to? You keep running, and eventually you run out of road. Mm-hmm. So you have. I mean, I didn't move from Illinois because of the gun laws. I moved because of my work. While I was there in Illinois, I supported any of the organizations in Illinois that I could that I thought would be beneficial to the cause, and you know, I voted and you know, made contributions in my own ways. Excuse me, and I think that needs to be done wherever you're at. If you live in California, you know, you might think it's a lost cause, hopeless case, and there's a lot of people that think that way, and you just leave, abandon ship. No, stand there and fight, because, you know, we need to stand up for our rights. Otherwise, little by little, they get chipped away at, and then eventually they're gone. And you know what? We're living in a gun-free society, and pretty soon we're not going to be able to go do you know, the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion. Yeah, all that stuff's going to go away, you know. It doesn't just stop with one aspect of this. That's what people don't also realize. They don't realize it's not just about guns. It's about our whole country in general. I mean, all of our rights in general. You know, if you don't want to have a gun in your house, don't have a gun in your house. That's freedom. But don't take away my right to have one if I want one, just because some idiot does something stupid. Because guess what? There's a lot of idiots in the world that are all going to do stupid shit. And the story, definition, idiot does stupid stuff. Don't take away my options and my freedoms, my choices because of that. You know, is there a perfect option to that to keep the idiots from having guns and the people who are mentally ill and the evildoers and all those things you want to categorize into those potential threats? Yeah, I don't know if there's a perfect option for it, but certainly taking away the rights of those who want to defend themselves and enjoy firearms, even from that aspect, or even for whatever, you know, purpose that they want to have that freedom for, you know, that's just not right. You know,
so this latest, you know, the shooting today in California, right?
Yeah, they say mass shooting because there's a few people involved.
Well, there was 3. I mean, I don't know. They changed the definition all the time.
Right.
But you know, obviously, it was done by a pistol or a revolver. You know, they're not gonna mention that. They're gonna ignore that fact. I mean, like most, you know, it's frustrating.
He says we all live in we will all live in Texas one day. Guess what? Texas is not the most gun friendly state anymore. I think Arizona is probably still the top, but not Texas. Everyone thinks Texas. No, I don't think so. We did a while back. We did like a video about that. We went through state by state with what the rankings kind of were as far as gun owner friendliness, or, you know, pro Second Amendment and all that. Took up the whole episode, 50 states. Think about it. Talk about it for over a minute each. It was over an hour. But yeah, the conceptions that we all have about this whole thing of moving to the country or moving to a pro-gun state and stuff, yeah, Country's getting smaller. I mean, there's more and more people in this world, and it's growing at an exponential rate. We're using up our resources, we're using up our land. It's becoming harder and harder to find a piece of property, that you can buy and go shoot on. I'm not saying there's places like that in the world still, but it's that's shrinking. Those options are shrinking. Finding places that still give you some freedom, in certain respects when it comes to firearms and whatever else, that's changing all the time. You start seeing, like, sometimes it goes town by town. Some states have different rules in different towns, and that makes it a nightmare, especially if you travel and you want to travel with your firearms. I mean, like we talked about Illinois, there's several different areas in Illinois where the local laws and ordinances or whatever are basically, you can't have an assault rifle, an AR-15, or other certain particular firearms that are on their list. And how do you know that? And are you going to travel from this state to that state and research every friggin' town in between? No. Are there some different, I guess, federal laws from my understanding? And I don't know. I'm not, not an attorney. I don't know all the ins and outs of every single law, but from what I understand, that there's there's some laws that allow you to travel from state to state to transport your firearms, but I think there's also parts of that where it says travel, like pass through, not like don't stop. If you stop someplace and then you get in trouble and you get caught with your firearms, like go to the gas station or something, you're passing through, you're stopping someplace. There's all different types of these legalities and, like, I wouldn't say loopholes, but different contingencies or whatever you want to say of these laws. And there's so much to know that you can't know everything easily. And that makes people uneasy as far as feeling like they can legally, transport a firearm or certain things, like makes you feel limited. You're not sure what you're able to do because of the fear of the unknown and so forth. So Patriot in the Dark says, can't we just invade Mexico, have a lot of property they don't use down there? And Squibload says, I ain't moving there. So we're just going to push the ball back.
Right? Yeah, I'm not moving there anytime soon.
Yeah, we just, that wall we're trying to build, just move it a couple more feet. That'll add a decent amount of land, right? Just go about a few yards in, and it's still the U.S. Whatever. So I don't know. I use that analogy, and the sad thing is that kind of happened to a family member of mine, that his neighbor was moving the fence every couple of years and they'd repair it. There's a whole court case on that, though. That's a whole nother story.
You gotta focus on education. I mean, and just I like to talk to people that don't really know anything about guns and gun law, the laws, and I've literally had to like spell out the Second Amendment, read it word for word, and explain what it means. And people don't. They're like, oh, I never thought about that before.
Right. Like, they may be on the fence or just not informed. It's like it's not on the radar of things.
So if you're talking to some very anti-gunner, you're not debating them. You're not going to change that person's mind. But somebody listening to you, or somebody undecided on the topic, they're the ones that you're really trying to convince.
I say less likely. I wouldn't say it's not impossible, because there's some people that are still open-minded, even though they have their opinions formed.
It's not impossible, yeah, but generally, you're trying to win over the people on the fence.
I will say, like, I've had conversations with coworkers before and things like that.
And just be a good example. Just be a good example of a gun owner, and be safe and respectful and knowledgeable. And I think that goes a really long way, because when people are basically just used to movies and what the media says, they need to see the real side of most owners.
And I mean, one thing we can discuss too, it's kind of interesting, is some of the questions I've heard from people that are not just not gun people, not like I said, on the fence, or they just don't know much about it. I had someone ask me, well, don't they have can I just get like a gun with like rubber bullets to defend myself with, so I don't kill somebody, And I'm like, I'm like, okay, you can get, or he goes, well, I have to go to a dealer to buy that, like, you know, and I'm like, well, yeah, basically it's the type of ammunition, and you know, you could kind of basically explain it to him, like, yeah, you can get like for a shotgun, you know, there's rubber ball type, less likely to be lethal, you know, ammo, whatever I call it. But I said, realistically, that may not, you know, solve the issue you're having at the time, you know.
Yeah, you'll also probably have the lawyers after you if you actually shoot somebody with that, you know.
Could be. You never know.
I feel like that's just very complicated.
And you know, people talk about suppressors and stuff. It's a lot of it's based off of what they see in movies. You know, is the suppressor's more deadly? That's going to get more deadly. No. There's still going to be a report from it. You're just going to hear a sound from it. It's really there to help protect people's hearing, you know. But that's a whole other debate. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have any short ones.
1,000 examples.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you got any good ones that you guys want to share, but we'll go ahead and wrap stuff up otherwise. Yeah, anyway, so I guess real quick, Brandon, you got anything you want to mention before we go?
Actually, I found a 1,200-yard range about an hour away. So I'm really looking forward to stretching out my Ruger American Predator 6.5 Creedmoor. Nice. And I was wondering, I'm probably going to have to get a 20 or 30-degree MOA rail to get out to 1,000. So that's going to be probably one of my next purchases for that. So I'm just kind of looking around for. Some people are saying like use the Night Force or whatever. That's $250, and you know I don't know if I could stretch that far. So, but right. Kind of looking forward to doing that. So
1,200 yards.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. The farthest I ever shot was 600 yards, and I tell you what, just from that little bit of experience was, you know, you can see the bullet trail and stuff behind it, and it's neat to be able to pull that trigger, and then like a half a second later you hear the ping on the steel. You know, it's that far of a distance. It's pretty cool stuff. That's awesome. So, Corey, you got anything you want to throw out there?
I'm just excited about being finished with school.
Are you finished, like, graduation finished, or just
just with the semester? I've got one class that's really kicking me in the butt, and I hate tests more than anything.
When you start up again?
I get the end of the semester is, I think, the last week of April, and then I start back up like at almost the end of August. I think like August the 20th. So I got about 4 months.
Cool. So what are you gonna do for those 4 months?
I'm hoping to gain an internship at some place to not only get me paid while I'm there for the summer, but also get me credits towards my degree. So, nice. So there's that. You know, I hate tests. I've never been a good test taker. So whenever I fail a test and then I go down, I look and I see that I'm still at a C+, you know, in one of the hardest classes that everybody takes. You know, I'm still like, whew.
Cool. Well, yeah, good luck with that stuff.
Yep. I definitely want to get out there and put some rounds through this new slide too. Eventually, once I get these sights in, hopefully by the end of this week, I'll be able to get those in. But once all that's complete, you know, I'll get the RMR hopefully, you know, beginning of summer, end of summer.
That's on my list. I want to get one as well, but yeah, the cost of it. I missed the deal. They had one at Cabela's for like I think $350 recently. That was like a steal of a deal, I think, compared to. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I that's the best I've seen so far, and I've been looking for a little while.
I think the best deal that I've seen on a. Oh, excuse me. Oh shit. The best deal that I've seen on a Trijicon RMR is a Type 2 6.5 MOA.
I think it was a 3 MOAs what I was looking at. I think it's what they had on sale.
Yeah, they're like $700, but Optic Planet had it for like $500.
Right.
So
that's a chunk of change, man.
Yeah, and
you're talking about when you got a decked out Glock, when you see you get a trigger in it and you get a slide and a barrel and all that stuff. Yeah, RMR, you got about $1,000 in that gun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even, I'm not really even like worried about like trigger and things like that. I'm just using stock trigger and everything. And I mean, at the end of the game, I mean, I'm trying to, the way the unloaded, the way the slide and everything looks, you want to kind of match it up so you can actually get like a Cerakoted RMR, kind of like a wolf gray. So I'm thinking that's might be what I'm looking at. Maybe even just a standard black, but I kind of want to keep it kind of cool looking. So
nice. That definitely does look pretty cool. I like it. Nice. So Joe, you got anything else you want to wrap up with tonight?
No, man. It's good to talk to you guys.
Yeah, likewise.
And hope everybody has a good week. Just looking forward for the weather to get nicer and maybe go out to ASC one day here in April. And
yeah. Speaking of weather, it was like I think in the 70s today or close to it down here. So, if I wasn't feeling better, I would have went out to the club this past weekend that we have here. But it's, like I said, it's a 2-hour ride from me. But yeah, that's cool. Definitely can't wait till it gets nice out there.
Yeah, man.
So again, yeah, thanks guys for joining us. And as always, also everybody out there watching on YouTube as well. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody, and appreciate the support. By the way, speaking of support, if you want to help support the channel and the 50 States Project and so forth, there will be a link to Amazon below the video in the description, and you'll find that in a lot of the videos we have. If you shop Amazon at no cost to you, just use that link, and there's a percentage of any of your purchases. There'll be a small percentage of it that goes towards basically the channel. Again, it doesn't change the cost to you in any way, shape, or form. It just kind of allows Amazon to give us a little kickback for sending some business their way, and so forth. And that's mostly it. And go ahead and check out BIGGUNNER81.com and the 50 States of AR15.com, which Brendan's done a lot of work with us on that to help us get those two sites to where they are. We'll have some items on there for sale, some BIGGUNNER81 3D printed items. If you're looking for something custom, contact me. We can work with you on that. And I might also be throwing up some of my extra gun parts and stuff on there too, accessories and stuff like that I have that I've kind of amassed over a period of time here, and that I'm not necessarily using, just to kind of clear out and also help fund some of the other projects. Like I mentioned, the 50 States Project, that can definitely use some support. If you're a manufacturer out there that wants to participate in the project and contribute, a component for their state, we'd love to do that. Just reach out to us and let us know. Anyway, till next time, as always, have fun shooting.